is Ted Cruz proposing here, and why is it so sort of revolutionary?
So what Senator Cruz is proposing is to essentially set aside the rulings of the Senate parliamentarian on whether certain provisions in healthcare legislation that Republicans want to pass are relevant to this reconciliation process they're using to essentially avoid the 60-vote threshold. Because remember, in the Senate, a minority of 41 senators can filibuster any legislation. Democrats have 48 votes, so they can do that. The only way Republicans can repeal Obamacare or unwind it in any significant way is to do it through reconciliation. And the rules are that only provisions in legislation that directly affect spending and taxes can be in that bill. So it gets a little arcane the more you get into it. But the bottom line is what Republicans want to do is very constricted by this rule. Ted Cruz essentially wants to set it aside and set a bold new precedent that could allow future majorities.
So
to do this as well.
ostensibly, Ted Cruz is trying to change the rules to allow for a more expansive Obamacare repeal. But here's the real question. Does this increase or decrease the chance of anything getting passed?
Joe, I think right now it decreases the chance of something getting passed because it highlights and intensifies the divisions within the Republican Party. They're already divided pretty substantially over the House legislation that has cleared two critical committees and is headed toward the Budget Committee for finalizing next week. And what Ted Cruz is trying to do is he's essentially saying start over. He's telling House Republican leaders, including Speaker Ryan, start over with a much more far-reaching bill that does much more to unwind Obamacare and includes much more of these provisions that conservatives want, such as selling insurance across state lines, which is regulatory, so they can't get into a repeal reconciliation bill. But yes, right now this entire debate makes it more difficult for Speaker Ryan and Republican leaders to get their bill through.
Is Cruz getting any traction with this plan?
A little bit. He's gotten some allies in specifically the House Freedom Caucus group of about 30 or so of the most conservative House Republicans who have no desire to abide by Senate rules and want to do whatever they can to unwind the Affordable Care Act. In the Senate, it's much less clear. He doesn't seem to have, he has allies who are on his page who want to go further, like Senator Rand Paul and Senator Mike Lee, but nobody who's quite endorsed the strategy yet. So it's a little bit vintage Ted Cruz going out on a limb, trying to move policy to the right by setting ablaze Senate traditions.